sometimes the problem is that we're still bothered with what do people think. I don't want to disappoint people. But if you're going to be a billionaire, you have to build a culture of having honest relationship with people, right? People who approach you for things, you have to be as honest as you can with them. And in other words, what do you want from that relationship? Be honest, right? What are you also willing to give in that relationship? Be honest. Some of the people I have found annoying are people who are just coming around my life and cannot just go straight to, what exactly do you want? They want to dance around, what do you want? I need to know. So if it's something I can afford, I'll tell you. If it's something I can't, I'll tell you right away. But ability for you to build reputation that, this man, this woman is honest, will take you far in business. Why? Let me say this, and this is very powerful. Hard work, right, will make you your first 1 million, right? Yeah. Of course, in dollars, maybe it will make you your first, let's say 100,000. I'm not even sure to jump to it. $1 million. Hard work, right? Smart work will make you, your 1 million, even your $100 million. Smart work will do that. But hear this, only network, okay, will make you a billionaire. But it's important to know that the network in itself will not just make you a billionaire just because you have the network. It will always eventually have been as a result of hard work plus smart work, right? Plus what? Network equals to wealth, right? Or success, or whatever you want to put into it. Does this make sense at all? Yes. But if you go the hard work alone, right, you make few money, at least, you will pay your bills, right? Hard work alone. Smart work, you're going to have more than you need, but for you to move to that level of becoming a billionaire, you must have a network to it. So the three must work together. And that's why sometimes people meet rich people and they feel that maybe they are lazy by their own calculation, because now you see the guy at a golf course, you see the guy traveling, and people don't even know how tough some of those things are. Like if you follow my Instagram, what you will see is that I was in Johannesburg last week, and and then I traveled to Paris, and then from Paris I'm in New York, right? So what a layman is seeing is how more, so much, right? That's all they're saying. But what they don't get is that at this phase of my life, I've done the hard work, I've done the smart work, and I still have people in our company doing those two. So what is missing now is what? Network. Is the network. And thank God you guys were at the Forbes dinner last night, right? That's what's not needed. You don't need to start meeting, because if you still need to do hard work, you have employees to do that for you. If you still need the mental work, you still have employees, to do that for you, right? The part that is missing is now that network. You have to meet those quality of people who can afford to invest in what you're doing at a high scale. I hope this makes sense at all. Yes. But when you are not meeting these people, which is where the problem is, and you are not honest, right? Thinking there's some game you can play. You see the point now? Remember, they themselves also have this backup of hard, smarts in their system. So I've seen people who think they can just play games with me. And I'm like, even if, let's assume I'm a fool, I have a whole army of people in my system. My employees are over 300. Somebody somewhere will figure you out. Right? Somebody somewhere. So being honest about, hey, this is why I'm here. this is where I am. This is what I'm looking for. Right? Will also help those relationships to grow, and will help people to take you a lot more serious. I hope this makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
So, the second thing I'm sharing under the billionaire habits is in page 121. And it says, avoid Ponzi scheme. Right? Mm-hmm. So, I realize again, thank God we start with the page 121, avoid Ponzi scheme. I realize that oftentimes, and I've gotten people reach out to me, Dr. Stephen, I have this idea, if I can just get this money, boom, boom, in 1 year, boom, boom, they give you all this. And I'm like, with due respect, I've been in business for over 20 years. I understand that things that work the way you have said, okay, are either Ponzi scheme, right, or they are what we call high-risk investment. And as much as high-risk investment is not illegal or even a Ponzi scheme, the chance that the same way you make the money is the same way you will lose the money is as high. So I'm more experienced enough to know that you can't just get me into joining this whole thing, because I think about it in a more holistic fashion. So I realized a lot of billionaires, why they became so was that at some point they figured out what is Ponzi scheme and what is not. And they avoid it. Right? I still listened to Warren Buffett recently, watching his interview with his partner. And you could see them talk about their early days in business, the ones that failed. And you could see, even though he didn't use the word Ponzi, but you could see him emphasize the fact that at some point we got to realize investment that looks shiny, right? But behind it, this thing is not substance. And after losing some money, we had to get to a point where we now know that, you know what, these are the type of businesses, these are the type of shares we should buy, that in the long term, even if in the short time it looks somehow, but in the long term, these are the ones that deliver. So I tell, a lot of us who are on that journey of, I want to be a billionaire, I want to be a millionaire, multi-millionaire, I want to become extremely rich. I say, always ask yourself in any business, what is the risk level? And this is not because you will not do it. Okay? This is not because you will not do it, because I have a popular quote that says, if you hate what is currently your bank account, you know what's the problem? You're not taking enough risk. Right? Because money is only a reward for risk taking.
It's true.
Right?
You can even testify to that immediately.
Right? Money is a reward for risk taking. So, first of all, we're in the business of taking risk. We just need to know that. So, this is not about avoiding risk, but you need to even know what type of risk you are taking. So, when it comes to investment, there are 3 types. We call it high risk, okay, mid risk, and low risk. So you see a lot of people, for example, shouting, oh, Elon Musk has gone into cryptocurrency, he's invested in this coin, he's bought this coin. But the foolish thing with those who now want to join Elon Musk is that Elon Musk has his assets categorized into all these 3. You see the wisdom there?
Yes.
So the crypto part is just the high risk, right? Owning a social media platform is almost as low risk as it can get in terms of how the business typically work, right? Owning a car making company, you get my point now, has its own more reasonability when it comes to the risk, right? But of course, now owning all this, crypto is high risk. So my advice is that billionaires don't necessarily avoid high risk, but they break down into all these 3 categories. There's a percentage of their investment that goes into this, there's a percentage that goes into this, and there's a percentage that goes into this. So whatever happened, they are guaranteed that they're not going to lose all their money. Guaranteed, they're not going to lose all their money. And they don't go into outright Ponzi. And we must be clear about that as well. High risk does not equal Ponzi. Forex is high risk, but it's not Ponzi.
It's not.
Right? Even cryptocurrency, it's not Ponzi if it's done properly. Of course, there is a Ponzi version of cryptocurrency where there's no substance backing the coin. There's nothing really backing the coin. They're just creating more money coming. They use it to pay new investors and things like that. But it's important to know that if you are serious about becoming a billionaire, you have to understand this is a long-term business you're doing. This is a long-term project. It's not going to be, overnight success. There's a process to it, but it is possible. Does this make sense at all?
Yes.
Okay. Any question or addition on this?
One thing that comes to mind is the crypto aspect. And last night somebody asked me from the Japanese TV station what I thought about crypto and FTX. And I explained to him that in every industry there's always going to be bad players. And there are good players in there. The crypto was supposed to be for groups of people who want to avoid bank charges.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't supposed to be for speculations and hype and all the parties that they were actually doing. So when launching a stable coin, for example, art, like for instance, artwork collection, artists and such, we're going to launch our stable coin for our community to be able to use that to gain investments.
Yeah.
Right? But so that that point is backed by real life assets.
Yeah.
Which can make money in real life.
Yeah. Exactly.
And the crypto will just come and add to it to bring it more money, more
exactly.
revenue. It's unfortunate that sometimes when bad players come to industry and good players cannot even explain themselves in the meeting because they think, oh, you guys are all like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I really appreciate the fact how you explain the way of Ponzi schemes.
Yeah.
Because I realize that this Ponzi scheme has really, taken the minds of a lot of youths.
Yeah.
Whereby they, borrow money from friends and families.
Yes.
Where they approach you,
Yeah.
trying to, tell you the amount of money you're going to make at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I just keep wondering that if actually these Ponzi schemes are real, no one, the gap between the rich and the poor would not even exist, because the tenacity, the energy, the drive, the commitment and the dedication that is used to pursue, getting what you need for the Ponzi scheme is so, I admire it so much, and I'm like, if only this can be diverted
into a legal,
some legitimate kind of work, it's going to produce so much. But it's just that I think there's that level of impatience where people are gotten to the point of impatience where it's like, I'm not waiting for it to grow.
Yeah.
And that's because even those that have made it ahead, the billionaires and all that, if we listen to their stories, if we take time to follow their stories, we'll realize that they didn't just wake up into it.
Yeah.
It took time. They had seasons of failures and all that. And, before they got to where they are, they had challenges, they had mistakes, which we could learn from and make sure we don't fall into that. But I think the way in which their successes are being promoted makes the younger generations feel like they just got into it, and so it's like this Ponzi scheme is going to hit me into my billions
overnight,
and so this is what I want, and then I'm going to testify and all that. So I think, because for me, I'm like, no, it doesn't work this way. But I've seen people lose even the money they were able to get from family and friends, which they could have used if it was a business, to start up a business and begin to watch it grow. Because I'm like it's like a seed. You plant a seed and then you watch it, you water it, you go there, you take out the weeds and all that, and then at the end of the day a tree comes up. But you didn't wake up to see a tree. It started in the process. So I think the generation that needs to hear this a lot more because of the spread of the digital age. It has made, when everybody just comes on the social media and then, this and that, it's like, so there's a sort of level of confusion that is going on that's not making people to realize that, see, you need to put in the hard work, the smart work, then networking, there are processes, and then you get to your place. You don't just wake up
one of
There's a seed time and harvest.
yeah, one of the things I said in the book that I also think is missing is the place of mentorship, right? So we haven't, I say this to people, what parents can do, you have teenage children or you have young adults, don't necessarily fight the fact that they're attracted to the guys who are extremely up there. Okay? What you could do is to look for a way they can serve those people.
But are they ready to serve?
I mean, if you are their parent, you can influence that. And they will. I think they will if it's somebody that is an image of what they're trying to become. Right? And in that tutelage, they can then gradually see the process, the hard work involved, and because the problem usually is that you are not really meeting these people to understand the journey, right? And even to be in their life, to still understand the struggles they are still going through, even at the moment, right? And the battles they go through and things like that. So, because people are not getting opportunity to watch closely, and parents are also not investing in that. Okay? I have made up my mind, as soon as my children are teenagers, during holidays, even now I do it, they go to their grandma's place, my adopted mother. It's in the outskirts. It's not as beautiful as our house. My first son dreads the place. His first complaint is that the food, because she portioned the food. In our house, my son just goes to the kitchen if he wants to be a chef, cooks whatever he wants, eats whatever the portion he wants. But there, they ration the food. This is what you can take. So, yeah, but intentionally, I tell my wife, holiday time, let them go and do 1 week or 2. And my goal is that as they become teenagers, they will have to go and work under my own friends. Even before they start working with me. Go and do 1 month, be his PA, carry his bag around. Go and do this, and I think, and they are not going to pay you. If you choose to dash you something, that's his choice. But this is not about payment. I was interviewing a veteran journalist yesterday on my Instagram, and she was sharing the same story. How as soon as she finished secondary school, the mom said, "You're going to get a job, go and get a job." And the mom didn't even look for who would give her the job, because you can't sit in his house. Go and look for a job. So she got the job. Her first salary was 1,500. It was even the school, their last born was in kindergarten or something, or nursery 2. So it was the last born school. She had to go and meet the principal, because I guess in the course of dropping the child, you cannot walk. I said, "Who are you?" I just said, "I've never employed a secondary school graduate, but I will make that exception with you." And that's how she got the first job, 1,500. By the time she entered 100 level, she started, because she just loved journalism, went to a TV station that she wanted to work. They gave her opportunity. They did not pay her from 100 level to 400 level. Right? Her name is Nancy Ilo. She's a business journalist at AIT. You saw it on my page. And imagine who she is today. Today, I mean, there's no top business leader that visits Nigeria that will not go on her platform. Or she will anchor. When the World Bank president came, she was the one that anchored the event, do all of that. But today you can watch her as a young journalist and say, "When will I be a Nancy Ilo?" But she started from somewhere where there was even no money attached. Right? So parents also have to play that role of being intentional to say, "Go and work under this, my brother, or go and work under this, my friend. He's not going to pay you." Intentional say he's not going to pay you, even if the man wanted to. Right? And discourage it, so that even if he's giving it privately, and it rings into the person's head that this is not about the money, this is about you serving and learning. And gradually we'll begin to see a better generation. But we are, as parents, too, have to demonstrate it to the children as well. They have to see us do the work. Sometimes I'm going to sites, I carry my family, and I'll tell my wife at some point she will bring them to come and see me on site. You know, let them see what daddy is doing. Because sometimes they always say, why is daddy always traveling? Why can't daddy just work from home? Why can't daddy just be at home and just play with us and just enjoy with us? Okay? Come. So come and see the process that is involved in this. Amazing. So I'll go to book 2 because we have 4 more to go. So book 2 is called The Billionaire Code. So I'll look at 2 codes as well. And the first code is in chapter 19 of the Billionaire Code. Unfortunately, it's not numbered. If you can locate chapter 19. The first code here is called Passive Income. Chapter 19, Passive Income. It says, if you have to work for every money you earn, where then is the financial freedom? Specifically, passive income is the money earned automatically with little or no effort on the part of the earner. So here's, I think, where, and I think this is valid for all of us, because I could see, except for her that is a lecturer, the rest of us are business owners. And I think this is why a lot of CEOs are CEOs, but they are poor.
That's right.
You know, and they are even more frustrated than employees.
It's true.
And they're having to call their colleagues who work and, hey guy, you know, can you loan me something? And I was like, so is it me that can also not, you know, decide to start my own business? Who sent you a message to say you want to be a CEO? And it's because many of us who own businesses have not understood an aspect of this. Well, you know, Robert Kiyosaki called it cash flow quadrant, right? E, S, B, and I. So here's the problem. Even when the book was authored, right? The mistake was that, and I don't know whether the author also pushed that narrative, or it was just other motivation speakers that pushed the narrative. The mistake was people assumed that when you start your business, right, this is where you are. But that's not true. When you start your business, you are here. You are still self-employed. And remember what that book taught us was that if you're under 1 or 2, you can never be financially free if this is all you do alone. So you have to come to 3 or 4 or both. Is this making sense at all? So you then see an average person say, okay, I don't want to work for nobody because they've said if I am an employee, right, you know, I will never be financially free, because the real analysis is that 95% of people in the world, they're either employee or self-employed, and they only control 5% of the money in the world. So the richest people in the world, only 5% of them do this, and they control 95% of the money in the world. There was a data that showed that about 3,000 people or something after COVID have control over 70% of the money in the world. Right? Imagine how ridiculous that is. 8 billion people in this earth. And then you have just these 3,000 that has 70% of the money in the world. Okay? So that, of course, you say income inequality, you can, people like my sister here can do advocacy and fight. The world is not fair, but it's because of what you choose to do. It's a choice of, do I want to be here? Do I want to be here? Do I want to be here? But here's where the problem is. People then quit their job and say, I want to start a business, not knowing that it will take another 15 years for self-employment to become a business. I don't know whether you understand what I'm saying. Because for something to really be a business, the definition is that it has a system that runs it. So whether you're there or not, it runs by itself, right? Now, how many business owners actually have a business that can run by itself? You see where the problem is? So, we are oftentimes self-employed with the illusion that we actually own a business in a system. Okay? And the worst part for most entrepreneurs is that we're now creating multiple of this self-employment.
Yeah.
So now, okay, I'm doing crypto business, which is self-employment. Then I'm doing forex business, which is, particularly if it's trading that you're doing. It's a different thing when you have now built a crypto firm, investment firm, or a forex investment firm, where there are people who do the actual trading. Do you see now, on behalf of your company, and whether you trade or not, money is coming guaranteed, because now that's when you are here. I hope this is making some sense.
Yes.
Now, so you see us, a lot of us now say, okay, so I will do this, I will do farming here, I will do this here, I will do real estate here, I will do this other one here. Before I say Jack Robinson, people are having 4 different self-employment.
Yeah.
Okay? And passive income is still not involved. So here is what I've always advised those of us who are entrepreneurs. Because, in fact, the biggest pain of being a self-employed is that you're almost killing yourself. You're working from Sundays to Sunday, yes or no? Right? You don't have a life. You are, your phone can't even live for 1 hour here. You are looking at the thing. I don't want to miss a call. I don't want to. I don't want to. Let me share this story. One of the hardest things that for me to do as a businessman was actually the decision to decide no longer, okay, that people have to call me if they want to do anything to our company. It was one of the toughest things. It was one of, but I look back today, we will not have scaled if I didn't do it. We will not have scaled. And I will still enter into more trouble, and people will not have respected me. Literally, people will be undercutting me if I had not done it. So one of the things I had to do was years ago, I said, you know what? Going forward, number one, you can't call me anymore. And I made it known globally. You cannot call me. Okay? No matter what it is, you can't call me. If you must call, I have this number, and I have this executive assistant, and that's the person who picks the call. If it then is something I need to do, right? You will need to give us, explain it to my executive assistant. And then my executive assistant will then relate it to me and say, sir, so person wants to reach you, so person wants to do this with you, and this is the process. And do you know what was shocking to me till today? The people who respect that the most are the richest people in my life. Someone like Dr. Cosmos Wanduka, I can't remember the last time me and him spoke on phone. If he needs to see me, he talks to my people. So you'll be, and this is important. And I look back today, I will not have scaled if I was still the only person you have to talk to. Because today I look back at how much operations we do. We're in 4 continents of the world. Every day we're expanding. So if it has to be me, hey,
You'll be born out.
I will have been dead.
Pass up, so.
And of course it's difficult to train people into that world. At the beginning it was tough. Some people were angry, you're arrogant, what do you mean by you should talk to your executive assistant? But I stood my ground. Some of them I would be humble about it and say, I'm doing so many things. My executive assistant will even call you. Right? Hello, sir, from Dr. Stephen's office, we're doing this with. And after a while, some of them realize I'm more tidy. Because sometimes they will talk to me about something, I've forgotten, you are reminding me, I'm so sorry. So now that I had that culture, so after a while, everybody just adjusted and said, you know what, this works for him. Okay, let's respect that about him. I hope this is making sense to you.
Yes.
So part of what we need to know is that in this self-employment thing that we keep doing as an entrepreneur, there's even too much stress. It's not good for your mental health. and yet there's no enough money in it. So, question is, what do you then do? What's the best option? The best option is, if you are a self-employed, where should you come? This or this? Who can guess? Business with a structure or investment? Which one?
Investment.
Investment.
You guys are smart. So even if you're an employee, where should you come?
Investment.
Yeah, investment.
You see the point? Because this will take a while to grow into this. And it's not a 1 day's job, it's not a 2 days job. Even if you are funded by Bill Gates, the process of putting that structure will still take another maybe 4 or 5 years. I mean, the fastest companies that grew to this, one of the fastest that I know is Facebook.
Yeah.
But even Facebook, it took Facebook about 7 years.
Yeah. I think Snap or TikTok did it in 5.
Snapchat?
Yeah. Or TikTok did it in 5. I think it was Snap.
Snapchat? Well, I don't know the story, but an alpha is Snapchat, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because even the Facebook that we said achieved this, right? How many of us agree that Facebook will still have issues if Mark Zuckerberg leaves?
Yes.
Because it still plays a critical role
Business structure.
in keeping that company.
Yeah.
So, you get my own argument. So, really, for the business to really scale, it will still take, even if you have the funding, so you got this, Bill Gates gave you all the money. Before you set up an effective HR, effective account, if, you know, all the systems, before they are all set up, it will still take a few years. So my advice is always try to say, yes, what can I invest in that will continue to bring what we call passive income. And like I defined in the book, passive income is the type of income that you put in your money once, and with little or zero effort, it continues to bring returns on investment. And like I told you earlier, you must then do the investment into what? 3 levels, remember? High risk, mid risk, and low risk. I hope this makes sense at all. So when you break it down in that fashion, you have a scenario where you at least are guaranteed that, let's assume your small business crash, you have these guys to keep bringing money. Let's assume you're an employee and your boss fire you. You have this passive income that's bringing money. In fact, what I tell employees, don't resign until you have enough of this, where the returns that come from this is up to your salary. Then you can resign at that point and start from here. So even if this is not bringing much money, this is sustaining yourself, your family, while you work towards growing this one to become this. Is this helpful?
Very helpful.
Okay. Number 2 under Billionaire Code, the second code we're looking at, is called the Loan Code, part 15. And this is really good because this delivered me from evil. Like that scripture, deliver us from evil, for that is the kingdom. I realized for a long time that one of my biggest problems that I faced for a very, very long time was I haven't struggled to save some money. I don't know whether some of you have been through that. You struggle, you save all this money. Guess what then happened? Somebody wakes up someday and then say, emergency, urgent. If you don't help me, somebody will die. Right? And then out of course, they blackmail you, emotional sentiments. You take all this money. You see the point? And then boom, you give these people. And before you say Jack Robinson, can I get my money back? No. You don't get the money back. And what it even does, which is the worst, 9th chapter, part 15, loan code. It's not numbered, it's towards the end. Part 15, loan code. Now, do you remember that? And I think because of the African culture, because all of us are Africans, people will also, even those you want to go and report to, will blackmail you into just the same thing with the sexual harassment we're talking about, or rape, right? It's the same thing. People will to Omaton, if you are Yoruba, right? Money will finish. It is human being that is left. Human beings are your clothes. Don't burn bridges. Don't do. And I have realized you can never be financially free. Mark it today. If you give out loan, you can never be financially free. So I had to make up my mind, and this was one of the things that delivered me. And I started telling everybody, I do not give loan. You can't come to me and say, Stephen, can you loan me money? Nope. However, the model I devised, because of those type of health, emergency, so you've come to me, give me loan, $50,000, urgent. I look inwards, and I've had all manner of such. People come to me. I remember a particular recent one. My wife is dying of cancer, and if you can just 5 million now, urgent, right? And they are good at the whole thing, and I can't blame. So if you're under pressure, there's something you won't do. You need that money. So what I've learned to do now is say, give me some time. First of all, I don't give loan, but whatever I can give you as a gift, give me between this period when I get my salary. Yes, I get salary. Yeah, I own my company, but I also get salary in the company. So give me some time. When the company pay me my salary, right, I'll look at what I can give you. So you're asking me for 5 million. Maybe all I have is 250,000 or 500,000 out of the 5 million naira. Then I give it to you, and I pray for you that God will, support you, open more doors. God will touch other people to do what I've done, and I move on. Okay? And it has helped me. Because whatsoever you can't dash people, don't loan them. Right? And that's what I was sharing in this part of the book. Whatever you can't dash people, don't bother loan them, because they will still end up blackmailing you. Yeah. And, you won't get the money back. And you will, the day you then need the money, in many cases, you are also needing it urgently. And if you're not careful, this is how we create this value chain. And we talk about it, crab mentality in Africa, where you look at how if you put a crab into, let's assume this is a big bucket, you put one crab in it, in less than 1 minute, the crab is out of it. But you put 5 crab in the same bucket, right? When one is trying to come out, the other pulls down. And that's what we practice across Africa, right? And it's a culture. So one person is trying to become financially free. Everybody say, I need your help. I need, help me, mommy, this. And then they pull you down. We have a case of a gentleman called Mubad, that went viral. The guy died. And when I look at that story, people are seeing just from the angle of, the record label. I'm seeing multiple layers of the issue. You see the guy's dad talk about...
I read your post.
Yes. It was... You see the guy's dad talk about how he never necessarily gave him much money. All the guy's property is with his in-law. You see another account... Yeah, true story, a Nigerian artist.
Yeah, some of them I see the post online.
Yeah, I read it. Literally, they even want to use it to lead to another political move. Because it's just taking wildfire. But I'm seeing from another angle. Even the mom just spoke again. He just rented a shop for her. He was supposed to send her 5 million the day he died. You could see everybody go from the money angle. And this is really why these people die.
Mental health.
This guy had been suicidal. Nobody's talking about that anymore. He had been suicidal. Because as you rise higher, you realize a lot of people around you just to use you. Now, and I say this to people, who come around me just for using me. I say, deep in my mind, I don't mind helping you, but don't just make me look as if I'm good for nothing else, but just to be used. Bring something also to the table. I'm not asking too much. Bring something else to the table as well. Let me just even deceive myself that there's an exchange that has gone on. Because, right? Because people don't know how it affects your mental health. When you live a life that it looks as if every single person around you is out for what they can get. And so you ask yourself, have I not worth something? Yes, you want to answer.
It raises the question of the honest relationships.
Yes,
yes. With you.
Yes.
You know, because for instance, when if the money is not there,
yes,
they still relate with you.
Exactly.
The way, or it's just the money that binds that relationship. So it raises the question of, you know, honest relationships, and also for people like you, people that are also billionaires, to also be and every one of us to be careful of the kind of relationships around us. Are they more of the parasitic type that is just based on what we have, and that's why, or something else? Because I believe beyond our relationships should be beneficial.
It should be mutually beneficial. Yeah.
And all that. But if there is a way whereby the leaning is so much, and so if that money is no longer, then will I mean this much to you?
But I think it's even you starting, and that's why you remember the book is called Billionaire Code, Billionaire Habits, is that these habits starts before you even hit your first $1 billion.
That's right.
Right? It's a habit that also helps straighten everybody around you. If you start by saying, hey, I'm not the guy that you just come, take loan, you know, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, you know, and can we be as honest with that? And I think most of us don't want to be that firm about how we manage our money, because when you look at this loan code, it actually starts with the money code. Actually, I think it's under money code, and we are not realistic that we're not realizing the fact that many of us have bad money habits that cannot make you wealthy, and most of the enablers of those bad money habits are our loved ones.
True.
Right? And so the first thing is to read the riot act to your loved ones and say, hey, this is, for example, in my family is under budget. There's an amount every month that I'm to give. You go beyond that, you sort your bills out on your own. Right? Yes, I love you. Yes, you are everything to me. But there is a budget for the house. There is a budget. Same thing with my parent. My dad was the first, you know, whenever I talk about this aspect of the money habits, and I talked more about it in the billionaire habits as well, is that the first person that was my headache for me in this journey was my dad. He was always demanding, right? I need this, I want this, I want this. So first I had to do at some point is to say, sir, what I'm sending to you every month is what I can afford for now. You can't put undue burden on me because you decided to marry somebody else. You went ahead to have another 4 children, that my own children are even older than some of your own children. That was your choice. You can't put that on me, right? This is what I can afford for now. And of course, he will tell me how people used to see me on social media. This was many years ago. And how when he goes to borrow money from them, they will say, but we are seeing your son. I say, well, I don't know about this so-called people you are talking about. If they think I have not tried, they can help you as well. Right? They can do their own. But what me and you know, I've done what I could afford. Of course, years later, today I'm building a house, I bought him a car. But if I wasn't strict on him those times, I'll have it into my capital. And he will still not have a house that he owns today. Or at least that he lives in today. But this war about building your wealth is a continuous war. It doesn't end.
Yeah.
Even yesterday, I still had the same issue with the same man. I have a budget I normally send to him. That last month, I sent 40% above the normal amount. only for him to send me a message. Somebody died in the village. Send me some money. I need to go for his burial. I said, so I just replied. I said, well, is it my fault now that I sent you 40% above? Maybe I shouldn't have done that. And anticipate that you will still come with this. So that at least I will not send. You kept quiet. So it's a continuous battle about your finances and putting the proper structure, right, that can help you to become financially free. I hope this makes sense at all. Yeah, but the beginning is no loan. Even for business, those who know me know I don't take loan. Right? Now, do I take business loan? Yes, outside of Africa, yes. Because the outside of Africa, your personality is well separated from your business. Right? Now, in Africa, the law says, of course, your personality is different from your business. However, the practice on ground is that people join you with your business and are always wanting to do it. So it's wisdom to be aware of that fact. And so even to tell people, loan me money, I want to put it in my business, I avoid it. What I then do, which is a strategy I advise most people to do as well, rather than take loan, sell something and get a commission on it. Right? So anytime you're under the pressure of, let me take a loan, ask yourself, okay, what can I sell? Right? That I get a cut. Am I making sense at all? And I call this, of course, they say your network determines your what? Your network, right? So leverage your network, okay, to raise capital. That is a more better model than outrightly going to those same network and say, borrow me money. Because when you say borrow me money, there is no dignity in it. Am I making sense at all? There's no dignity in it. But if you say, oh, I have this car, somebody wants to sell it, I know you do car, if you're interested, I can link you up. Oh, I have this house, people are interested in buying. If you're interested, one of the things I realize the most about many of us when it comes to building wealth is that most of us have not built enough wealth because we have not mastered the art of monetizing our relationships. Right? We know powerful people, but it ends at, hey, how are you, sir? How do we monetize those relationships beyond just, I know you, you know me? During the Forbes dinner yesterday, somebody reached out to me. He knows a lot of powerful people from Dangote to everybody, all the top people. And he was saying to me, he said, I want to go into real estate. I said, oh, fine, so how do I help you? He said, no, I'm not necessarily wanting to start buying houses and sell or buy land in bulk and sell. He said, I have this huge network of people I know. Right? I'm willing to package your own estates, push it to them, and give me my cut. I said, why not? That one, if our God will bless you for choosing to do that one. Do you see? Now he has honor with me with that approach, isn't it? The people he's also referring those things to, he's doing it with dignity. Because he said, thank you, I've been thinking of where I will even buy. Are you sure they're legit? Trust me, these are my people. Right? Meanwhile, he could be making an extra 2 million on each deal. Some deal he will make 5 million on one deal. One person buying a house, he will make 5 million. Some he will make 2 million. Some will make 1 million. In a dignified way. Everybody is happy. Even in future, when some of those people will be referring to how they own a land, or how they say, it was this person, she was the one that referred me, thank you, I will not forget her, because I have just been looking for credible people. If not for her, I won't get it. So, you see how rich people do. They monetize the relationships, rather than go for loan or go to beg. They look for, what can I sell to this person, that the person will be happy buying from me. Wow. I hope this makes sense. Okay, so book number 3. So you see why people are, book number 3 is Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs. But I hope you see why everybody, particularly in Africa, why people love the book. Are you saying the wisdom about the book?
Yeah.
And do you agree with me that it's needed? It's something that I always say to people, I say it's not just a book you buy for yourself, it's a book you want to buy for your loved ones. You want to buy for people around you. Because and part of why it's important to also buy for people around you so that they are not the one bringing you down. They understand this new journey. They understand this new law, right? These new habits that you are trying to what? Develop. Some of them will say, I fellow billionaire habit for me, right? Because they now understand, okay, this is the new model you are trying to go with your finances. So it's not just a thing you want to say, oh, I'm buying for myself. No. You want to look at how many other people you want to carry along in this journey. I hope this makes sense. Okay, so the next is chapter 6, and we'll talk about the giving habits. That's page 26 under Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs. So in this book of Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs, I looked at some key things that I didn't focus on because in the Billionaire Habits or Billionaire Code, it was very general. Page 28, sorry.
Okay.
Page 28. It was very general, and we didn't niche it down into, if you're a businessman, what are the things you're likely to face? What are the unique, factors? So here we're looking at giving. One of the things that I realized that a lot of entrepreneurs do not know is this giving culture. That giving is so important to your business as marketing and branding. Right? In other words, you have to build your business in a way. Unfortunately, again, those of you who are into CSR, advocacy, this is also where you then make mistake. Because we all have to balance it, right? A lot of people are into CSR advocacy, like my sister, Folke Michael here. What they then do is giving or advocacy or charity is now the only thing. Do you see the point now? Why those of us who are entrepreneurs, again, the mistake we make, selling and buying is now the only thing, no giving. People who have done it right are the likes of Bill Gates. Well, people still don't understand that Bill Gates is a businessman. Even in this charity he's doing, the man has mastered the art of patenting ideas.
That's right.
That's all he does. It's all his life, all what made him rich is he looks at this thing, the world will need it, he goes and buys it from you and gets a patent that he's the owner. That's all he's done. And what will happen with the Bill Gates Foundation over the years is that even when he's long gone, you see that they will be the original owners of some new inventions that will change the world. And that's what this whole Bill Gates Foundation is doing at the moment.
That's it.
Yes, it look now as if he's just dashing money away, but the guy is a businessman. Right? It's not just dashing. No, it's not that just dashing. But the lesson here is that we that were entrepreneurs, we often forget that giving has to be incorporated into the DNA of the business. If that business will go a long way. We have to structure. So for example, in our company, internship is embedded. Of course, it costs us money. Some of those interns will have to provide accommodation, meaning we have larger overhead. Because we are providing accommodation, cost of fuel. Of course, they are living in that office, so they are running diesel 24/7. All of that thing, we do 6 months training for them. But it's part of the giving DNA that is being incorporated into the structure of the company. I hope this makes sense at all. We have decision to say, okay, as a company, we give offering every month, we do devotion, and we give offering, and then we save that money, and then we go to charity homes, orphanages, we give, we do different, but we pay tuition fee of kids, and it's been embedded into the culture of the company. Occasionally, we just go to the street, organize event for widows and food and all those things. But we had to build that culture as a company, not just as an individual, as a company, that we must be seen as a company that is not just taking from the community, right, but is constantly giving. During certain festive period, all those we bought land from, we buy ram, right, and send to the community, sometimes cow, and send to the community. Even those who are our clients, they gave us money. They're buying land from us. They're doing birthday. We have one of our clients who did birthday this weekend. We bought a whole cow and sent to the person. A whole cow. Right? So it has to be incorporated. Some people feel that, oh no, you bought from me, I've given you value, everybody can ask, bye-bye, we go. No, but you have to build in a culture where people say, no, this is a company that is giving. So as an entrepreneur, I realize many of us, because we've not done this, we run into trouble. There are certain people that, even in terms of business, there are certain business deals that there is no tangible profit in it actually. But it's a form of giving. You're just doing it because in future, you will see that seed will still germinate.
Yes.
Right? Some way or the other. Some relationship. There are certain celebrities that we engage, not necessarily because we felt the thing will work, in terms of maybe their engagement will help us to make money. But just know somehow along the line, you will still need this celebrity. Somehow. Right? Sometimes retired civil servants that you are reaching out to. And someday, you just know your company will need it. Right? And I've heard stories where, your case came to my table. I made it to it and said, your company is different. You are not that kind of company. And I told them to stand down. Things that people will have messed you up. Right? Somebody somewhere, your giving is speaking. I hope we're learning at all. So I encourage entrepreneurs, structure that. I have a quote here. It says, that's in page 29. If I am going to give, I don't want to encourage laziness. It has to be empowering. This is also another mistake sometimes we then make. You have to give in a way that is empowering. Don't give in a way that how many of us know that there's a way you give that make people feel inferior?
Yeah.
Right? That just makes it look as if you are pitying them. Right?
You rid them of their dignity.
Yes, thank you. You carry money, just start throwing it on the street. And people are fighting over money, over food. Where's the dignity there? Gone. Right? This is the reason why we give $5,000 to support small businesses. But intentionally we put together like a pitch where the best idea wins. The whole idea is the person feels he did some work. Okay? You and I know it's a gift actually. So work or not, from your end, their pitch is not in any way adding anything to you. But you are giving them a sense of, I was better than 1,000 people. That's why I got the money.
Yeah.
Well, it helps their own psyche. Right? The recipient of the funds. Is this making sense? So be intentional about even how you give. So that it's not as if you are making people become lazy. This is the mistake the Western world did with Africa. They claimed they colonized us and that they've given us independence, but they needed to support us. But the way they were giving us aid was creating lazy governments. Till date. The way they were giving, same thing with the apartheid. You go to South Africa and you see a lot of the black South Africans just playing victim. Same thing African Americans here in the US. Just folding hands and playing victim. Oh, they ate us. And you could see certain party are preying on them just for political gains and are not empowering them, yet they prefer it. So giving must be empowering if we must give. Then chapter 11, that's page 73. Chapter 11, page 73, I talk about multiplication mindset. So here we talk about the principle of replication. Anyone who fails to intentionally replicate itself into other person's life is most likely to be forgotten very soon. And you were just talking to us about that, of a political leader who raised people, but those people he raised didn't raise anybody, right? It was just all about them being raised. To scale your business, you must teach others your life, your business principle. So for me, I've always shared this. In fact, someone was asking me the same question yesterday. He said, Dr. Stephen, how come you're able to travel so much? I said the first 7 years of our business, I was raising leaders. At some point, we were overstaffed. But it's because I knew a lot of them will leave. But I wanted us to have a significant number that will stay. So I intentionally employed more than we needed. And that's what eventually happened, because those who then stayed were enough to continue that legacy. So today, even while I'm not there, I've raised so many leaders to continue to run our organization. And I think that's really how you can say you're a successful entrepreneur. Most businesses are not structured in a way to raise next set of leaders. So even in our organization, we use our interns. We notice the interns are the ones who end up doing better than those who just come in as full-time employees. So we have created a system where constantly, where every 3 months, we are raising new set of interns. Some of them, I just addressed some of them last week personally. And I told her, I said, look at this person is a CEO today. He joined us as an intern. Look at this person is a CEO today. He joined us as an intern. Look at what even the last batch of interns. One of the last batch got 6 million naira, in commission. In 2 months of joining us, he was able to sell and make commission of 6 million to herself. So see these stories, see these good people. You want to be like them. And we realize that has always worked. One of the other aspects as well that's important under this subject, and I talk about multiplication mindset, is what we call OPM and OPT. So I realize a lot of entrepreneurs have not mastered the art of OPM and OPT. Many entrepreneurs are killing their own businesses because they are not leveraging on other people's OPT, right? Other people's time. OPM, other people's money. So the ultimate secret to becoming a billionaire is these two things. You can become a millionaire by your own efforts, self-employed and all of that, yeah. But nobody in the history of the world has ever become a billionaire with only their time and only their money. Ultimately, they had to leverage on other people's time, other people's money. That's why you will hardly find a billionaire that does not have over 100 staff. You won't find one. Now, they may not be direct. Warren Buffett can tell you that, I only have maybe 12 staff that work directly with me. But all the staffs of Coca-Cola, where he owns majority equity, is technically the employer. All the staff of Geico Insurance, all the staff of all these companies. So they are all technically the ones doing all the work to make all the money that is ultimately helping him to be Warren Buffett, the richest guy in the world. All the investors, OPM. I'm shocked when I saw that Warren Buffett's annual general meeting sometimes is in a stadium.
Wow.
Yeah. 30,000 people, 40 people who bought their shares. Yeah, so do you know what it means to have 40,000 people buy shares? And I'm sure that's not all the investors. Those are the ones who were able to come for that year's meeting. Right? So other people's money. So your ability to know that ultimate growth mindset, scaling mindset, is that you have to start thinking, how do I build the capacity to convince people to give me their time? How do I build the capacity to convince people to give me their what? Their money. That is how I am going to be a billionaire. If I don't master this, unfortunately, like I said, many of us waste our energy on what is not the most important. The biggest mistake I see with us as Africans, Africans have mastered the art of doing the technical work. We can do that.
Yeah.
The best plan, the best, products. We say yes. Nobody is better than Solution 17 when it comes to climate change action. Right? Yes. Thank God for that. But where we often miss it, how do I leverage on other people's money for it? Thank God for good products. How do I leverage on other people's time to make it work? Because that is the only way to scale. Right? I was speaking with somebody yesterday, built this massive real estate. The project is stuck. His money is stuck in the whole thing. He's not able to sell the product. And when we're talking, I said, your problem is marketing. Yeah? You are good at this whole building. You've done massive, fantastic designs. But you also have to intentionally build the capacity to sell. Now, let me ask you guys a question. And I want each of you to answer me. We have 2 more books to review, but before that, I want to ask. I'll start with you. Why are you aware, first of all, that Elon Musk's Tesla has never done paid advert to market Tesla? So tell me how you think he's been able to do the marketing of Tesla. And you and I know that you can't just go to Tesla and buy Tesla. It's prepaid. Right? You pre-order it and then you wait for a long time before it comes out. How was he able to do that kind of, because that's called genius marketing. Another word for it is viral marketing. How do you think he's able to do that? I want to hear from each of you.
What I've not read into it very well, but the little I glanced through is looked at what the problem was. He's looked at the world as his own marketplace. As in, he's looking at the world as I can lay my hands on the world, and he built a model, right? Mm-hmm. And the model is more of I'm giving that I am receiving. So to him, he's doing the world a favor. Yeah. And he's not actually using his own money to do the world a favor. He's actually using other people's money and time to do the world a favor. So you make you feel like you need me more than I need you. Okay. And so because he does that, it moves people. This guy is not really telling you, come and buy. But you need me and you will come to me. Yeah. So the model works for him because the world is his marketplace. And another thing I've seen is that the platforms that he has, that is built around corporation, is built around these companies and these companies. If you want to make this work, you drive a Tesla. Necessarily, he doesn't need to market, because the marketing is part of the model, and he's selling to you by even marketing without you knowing that he's marketing. He does it like, he might be arrogant, right? But I'm doing you a favor, come to me. I feel that's, and you do that a lot, that people could feel, what is wrong with this one? But you know your audience, you built your model, you've tested your model, it's a product. So for you, your product lives in you. So by the time you're marketing it, not necessarily say come and buy, but it's a model that will work. The word come to me. I'm going to give you this, test, and come back to me and give me a review of what you're getting. So it stays in one place and money is coming to him. For me, that's very genius, and the model works very well for him. Yeah.
Hey, you can't jump. Welcome. Okay, you're next.
Leveraging on other people's network. Is leverage on his network.
Leveraging on other people's network.
No, I mean he's leveraged on his network. I have not really read into him, but I mean leveraging on his network. Okay. And with his network promising that he's helping
I hope nobody's staying outside for too long. They were able to bring it. Okay, welcome. Settle down, welcome.
You're launching this book today?
No, it's a signing. Now I've done launched long ago, but I'm doing a US tour. So New York, Dallas, Houston, and then doing a book review like this. So we'll review the book and we sign for those buying. And, yes, and it's usually very. I just finished Johannesburg, and before I came to the US.
Oh, good.
Yeah. What? Are you part of us? Why are you staying far?
Oh, I just came with Stephanie.
Yeah, but join us. Yeah.
So yeah, the UN event just finished. So
Oh, okay. How did it go?
it was great. It was really, really fun.
Good, good. So meet Stephanie. Stephanie works with CNN.
Hi, Jane.
Yes.
Nice meeting you physically. I couldn't meet you yesterday. You left.
Oh,
But we had interacted through my pad before.
Oh, yes, yes,
Sent you a
yes.
message on Solution
Are you
17. My name is Felipe Michael,
Okay.
the climate advocate.
Right, right.
Yeah. Nice meeting you finally.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've reviewed 3 books. We have 2 more to go. Welcome. Welcome. Sorry about traffic. Unfortunately, we've reviewed 3 books already. We're more than halfway gone. But welcome. So, for those of you just joining us, we've reviewed 3 books, but we're discussing the 3rd one, which is Billionaire Habits for Entrepreneurs. And I was asking the question, why do you think Elon Musk's Tesla has never done paid advert before? And yet, you know, the whole world is talking about Tesla. What kind of genius marketing has helped them to be at that level? So we were analyzing the fact that you could be a millionaire from smart work and all of that with your own time and your own effort. But you can never be a billionaire except you leverage on other people's time and other people's money, right? But how has Elon Musk been able to do that for Tesla without even doing paid advert? You know, so she has shared her own opinion. So you're next.
Yeah, like I said, that he's leveraging on his network, using their websites, social media pages to do that, and leveraging on their networks. Of course, they have their own, in terms of people who patronize them, their group of people, and so definitely through that, they buy, and then there's a snowballing effect in sense of referral, and then that happens. So it's like they already own a market that are aware of them and they know them, and so and that's why they use that particular method. And I think also in a way they also use some form of online configuration or something, but but definitely leveraging on their networks, which also has to do with their network, of course, have money, and also promising them to also save time with the kind of stuff that they do. So that's what I haven't really investigated into.
Now you are sounding like a professor of mathematical. Lady Ajayi is a professor, but not, tech professor. I know. So yes, it's your turn.
So basically, the little story that I heard was once he made a prototype, instead of paying mass media, he would go to this network, there's corporate CEOs, and he would get them to buy into it. Someone would say, "No, this is trash." Someone would say, "Okay, whatever, I'll do a pre-order." And so basically, instead of mass media promotion, we would do direct selling to get a lot of pre-orders in. Then when the pre-orders are almost like ready to launch, we would do a big event party and invite all the press to come to that party. And of course, we're going to wine and drinking, and everybody's going to write about it when they go back home. And people get to hear about it, but it's not going to pay a TV station $1 million or Super Bowl $10 million to advertise Tesla. So in a way, it's more like direct selling instead of mass media advertising where you got to spend millions in the ads in the radio, TV, or print, something like that.
Okay, anyone else want to jump in?
Yeah, I want to say that he also had a kind of first mover's advantage in the sense that he was an innovation.
Yes.
And so he was going to get publicity based on that, being an innovator.
Yeah.
I remember reading tech media about Tesla. People were very excited about it. So, you know, that combined to create a lot of buzz for him that required that he didn't have to pay any money. So I guess he's a genius because he created something that has never been created before.
Yeah.
So,
I think if I should add this, I remember when I had meetings with you sometimes last year, we were talking about the life of impact without money.
Yeah.
Remember that conversation we had and all of that? I said, this 2023, and we were moving to using the work. Or like you come to UN before, I'll attend, sometimes I speak, and I go back home, my name is on papers and all of that. But I came back this time around, and I told you that this time around is, like you said, first mover advantage. We're going to convert all of this social impact into making money. Now, all of this network that I learned when we were speaking was for me to be able to leverage the fact that you can walk into Amina Mohammed's office or Secretary General's office or other UN agency or EU is to convert all of this into money. And that is why we are creating that art. That art is not just art. That art is product. That product has not been launched before. We're going to be launching them. And going through the 3 books that we've reviewed before now is the power of network. How may we turn these things that is not, seemingly not money into big money?
Yeah.
How may we make this thing very scarce and no one has ever touched it? Power of network, and that's what we're collaborating with UA government and the university to leverage on that. So for me, he has mastered this art. We might not be paying for media to make this work. Who is paying? The UAE is advertising, and they're going to be giving us with about 120 minutes to do an event. Who is advertising? The UAE. Who is talking to the university around the world? New York University. Who are the people that we're going to be bringing together to talk to the UN? So bringing all of this together, I feel is a good network power to actually turn this product into money. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes.
One thing I like is when you're able to control your narrative. So if you're putting out things before anyone has an opportunity to create it for you and skew it, then you lose that first access point. So he's been able to just drive people through his Twitter, and they also drive through innovation by collecting email addresses and announcing what they're going to do to their crowd first. So it's all controlled before the media gets it, they're announcing it. So the media is always following them and not them following. So when you're able to control your narrative, you're able to lead how your message is transcribed.
Wow, powerful, powerful. Okay, yes.
And following what she said, how was he able to do that? Is because they created a solution to the world problem. We know about the climate change, and it came at the right time to solve the world problem. And every country of the world now, they want to see what Elon Musk is doing. They're interested in the solution, you know, to a world problem, to something that everybody's been talking about.
Yeah.
So he created that at the right time, and the media. He doesn't need to follow the media. We have to quote to him. What are you doing? What's the next thing that you're doing right now? So the world needs Elon Musk more than he needs the world right now.
Well, that's the way he painted it.
Another thing, another thing I was, anytime you create value, people gravitate towards that. And I just use a simple analogy of a farmer who plants a tree or apple tree. The apple tree never leaves where it is. But guess what? People find that apple tree. Why? Because the apple tree creates value. People want that. So no matter what, as long as he's creating a solution to people's problem, people are easily just navigating towards it. And it's just free. So the apple tree never leaves where it is to publicize itself. But people, because they need what you have, they would always gravitate towards that. And that's one of the things. You create value, and people drive towards it.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So my thoughts are, it's almost like there's Team A now and Team B. So Team A are the professors and the technocrats and,
and the
Twitter heads and then Team B is more the natural stuff.
Yeah.
And basically, everything that everyone said is right, but what I see is the key in anything is boldness and a mindset. When people talk about Tesla being innovative, he wasn't. There's somebody actually called Tesla that started. They had electric cars in the 20s. But they had so he named it after. So he was very hardworking. But absolute confidence in self. And once you have absolute confidence in yourself, once you are completely bold, once you are not afraid to fail, then you become a newsmaker. But most people are marketing. I always say there's a difference between character and reputation. Reputation is what people say about you. Character is who you are. So someone like, what's his name, the Tesla guy? Elon Musk, for example, if you watch his early interviews, he always knew he was going to be where he was. Bezos always knew he was going to be where he was. Even when they interviewed him and said, how come you're losing money and losing money? I said, yes, we'll keep and it made no sense. And they used to laugh at him that, what do you mean that losing money is the way you make money? But believe me, if you, and you can use it for good or bad, if you absolutely believe something, whether it's right or wrong, and you absolutely pursue it and you absolutely say it, people will follow you. So I think that's one of the things, apart from the technical part, that you must have confidence, and then of course you have hard work, you are creating value and all these other things now gravitate together.
Beautiful. Okay, thank you all for your contribution. So we'll go to book number 4, Becoming a Billionaire Land Banker. So how I built a multi-billionaire real estate empire from zero up. So in this book, I shared the concept of land banking. So I started land banking in Nigeria. I would buy landed properties for as low as at that time, for using dollar equivalent, for as low as $200 per plot. But I'll buy 1,000 plots. I'll buy, 500 plots, 2,000 plots. We're talking of 8-10 years ago. Today now, each of those plots are as high as $50,000, right? Some are way higher than that. And that is really how I've built my own wealth. And of course, I'm not able to leverage on other things, but the foundation was to have done land banking. And what is land banking? Land banking is basically land aggregation for the purpose of investment or development. So we're in Manhattan now. A lot of people didn't know that, what's his name, John D. Rockefeller did a lot of land banking here. And it was very instrumental to the skyscrapers you see in Manhattan, right? He started buying some properties, waiting for a while, imagining what he was going to build on them, and over time started doing some, rebuilding and massive structure, and we can see what Manhattan has become. So if you are really serious about building wealth, land banking has to be one of those things you factor into that strategy. Bill Gates is currently the newest, largest land banker in America today, right? In other words, there are people who have more land than him. Ted Turner has more, but he's the newest. So he said that he's acquired over 264,000 acres in more than 20 states in the US at the moment. And he's getting more. And they're farmlands. So they're not even prime lands, right? But he has done some analysis that in the next 10, 20 years, there is something that will come up in those locations that will cause the value of those properties to go up. I hope this makes sense at all. So in page 84, I talked about why land banking is better than buying houses for Nigerians in diaspora. So there's a quote by Warren Buffett here. It says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work till you die. Now, in Nigeria, we're having a unique problem where a lot of Nigerians in diaspora buy properties in Nigeria, and then their tenants are not paying rent, and they're even blackmailing them. Oh, I lost my job. Oh, I'm so sorry, something happened. I'm not able to pay the rent. And so we're seeing a lot of people in diaspora, and it's not just Nigeria, it's all across Africa, actually. So we're seeing a lot of people wondering, is it making sense for me to even buy a house? But in the case of land banking, particularly for those in diaspora, you're able to buy a piece of property. I mean, you are doing that already. You know, pastor's done that in Abidjan. You're able to buy a property, you fence it round, you leave it for a few years. The value has gone up. Now, his own 10 acres that he did in Abidjan, I'm sure if we ask him how much was the value when you first bought that 10 acres, what's the value today, is amazingly way high. And he's not yet having that headache of, okay, my tenant hasn't paid me. The value is going up even while you're sleeping. I hope this is making sense, right? So that is one of the amazing strategy to building wealth using land banking. However, in his model as well, which is very fantastic, is that he's now converting that land to an estate. Because people pay rent better in an estate setup than in just you build a house somewhere in Songo or nameless location and then you are waiting for tenants to pay rent, right? In a proper estate structure, the caliber of people you are attracting to the estate, they are high net worth people and most of them will end up paying your rent. So these are some of the concepts that we shared in the book that is very helpful. Number 2 concept I want to share with us is in page 123. And I talked about 5 major ways to start a mini estate. So our companies came up with a concept around what we call mini estate, particularly for people who believe that the whole concept of doing real estate in Nigeria is complex, which it is. Omonile, headache, right? You have police issues, you have all manner. So not everybody has the structure to be able to do land banking properly or to buy land from community and guarantee that they won't take that land from you and all that. You don't have all that structure. For us, it took us years to have a retired IG of police on our board who handles all police-related issues, you know, have retired judges, have top lawyers. So today now, whatever issue is just, okay, which department handle those things? Now what we've come up with is that you can start an estate inside an estate. And that's actually how I started our first estate. Our first estate was in Ikorodu and this man had over 250 acres. He was not able to sell. He had issues with marketing. So he came for my digital marketing training to learn how to use the internet. Then I wasn't into real estate yet. So I was in the class and I said, very soon I'm going to start my real estate company. So after the class, he walked up to me and said, well, I could be the gateway to you starting because I have 250 acres. I don't know how to sell it, but I use the internet and all of that. You are good at that. I'll give you 50 acres. As you sell, you pay me. And that's how we started, over 8 years ago, the whole development part of our company. And the good news for that property is that since then they've had litigation issues. I didn't go to court. Of course, my party won the case and we still own the land. But imagine I was the one that bought the land directly and I'm the one to be facing all this litigation and this other family is fighting this other one. And I didn't have the capacity to have handled all of that. But because my partner, First Class King was involved in that, so I'm under their own arrangement, they have the capacity to face and defend all of that. So today we replicate the same thing with a lot of investors to say, we have some of these estates, 200 acres, 500 acres. You could buy 5 acres, you could buy 10 acres. Start your own mini estate in it. And of course, and before anything touch you, to touch us first. I will probably have the capacity to fight some of those challenges that will come to you. But even if you're not doing with our companies, the concept I'm advising a lot of people who want to invest back in Africa and are considering land banking, try to look for people who already have the structure, who already have the system, and then, buy under them, and then see how you can work together to build something massive for yourself. I hope this makes sense. So, number 1 is have an investment budget if you're doing this mini estate concept. So have a budget of exactly how much do you want to put in. It has to be very clear. Number 2, look for a significant development estate with a plan that you are investing in. So what is the plan they have for that estate? Because I tell people what make land banking, when in the world of land banking, land goes through, there are 3 levels. We have undeveloped land, what's wrong with my land? We have pre-developed land. These are the 3 phases that land banking goes through. Then we have developed land. So who can guess what level is Manhattan? No brainer. Developed land, right? So who can give us an example of pre-developed land in the US? Since we are in the US right now. Example of
Iowa?
Huh?
Somewhere in Iowa?
No, let's even look at New York State or New Jersey. Pre-developed.
Like a vacant lot somewhere.
Yeah, pre-developed, not just vacant lots. It's usually something is started. They've announced something about, okay, we're building a factory, we're building a university, and they've even started the initial, work. Maybe they're just doing the land development phase of it. We call that pre-developed, Then the undeveloped is the vacant, the vacant lots, the land is just there, nothing is there. So the question is, if you're going to go into land banking, which one do you guys think you should buy?
Undeveloped.
Undeveloped. What if it never becomes developed?
Don't you do the homework?
So it's pre-developed? Is it a pre-developed as the best option?
Sometimes, so all your profit is in pre-developed. If you see the graph, I'm not showing my slide here, but this is usually how the graph looks, right? And then, so the biggest profit, so this is the pre-developed, right? So it gives you the biggest profit. If you look at the developed, it modulates, right? You're not even sure, sometimes it goes up, it comes down. So I always advise that the best time to buy is here, somewhere around here. And the answer to that is when an announcement has been made around where that lot is. So yes.
So I was vice president of mortgages here in the city, and we worked with the city, with the mayor's office.
Yeah.
And what they did was they announced in Queens, right on the beach, that they were getting ready to develop that area because it was underdeveloped.
Yes.
So, but it was at a pre-developed stage where they made the public announcement, and all the other land around it, people started buying around the area.
Exactly.
That area was selling for about $100,000. That area now sells for $700,000 to $1.2, $1.5 million.
Wow.
So if you caught it at the pre-developed stage, you were going up with it, and then it teetered to where it's completely developed. Now you're paying more. It was Far Rock.
Beautiful. I love that beautiful analogy. So what you always want to target is the announcement. There's a property deal we did in Dallas. As at the time we got it was $10 million, and within weeks we eventually flipped it for $20 million. And it was because there were a lot of announcements about, Texas Instruments, they were going to do over $5 billion industry there, some other. So within that period the announcement was made, we got in. And while we were in the deal, we were already getting people who wanted to pay double for it, right? So sometimes you want to target this. So what is the announcement coming up? What are they trying to do in this neighborhood? It could be government, it could be private sector, it could be Elon Musk that is moving in. Look at what's happening in Austin, Texas now. Elon Musk moving into Austin, a lot of other companies moving in from California. It's just making real estate to just go crazy in that axis. So you want to look at announcement of pre-develop, and then you jump in even before anything is done at all. Is this making sense?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes.
Does underdeveloped eventually, if you buy some underdeveloped, do they become developed eventually?
Undeveloped. Yeah, the undeveloped often do that if but it's like you're gambling if you're just doing typical, without certain data. The only other thing you do here in the US is easy because the data are there. You can go to the city, they can tell you where in the next 5 years they are trying to build houses and all that. So you have that information, you can go and start investing. Another strategy, particularly in Africa, that we use, because there's no data in Africa. So what we use is we target major cities and where else is there land. So for example, one of the wise things we did, we have about 5 estates in the Betuleke alone. We targeted Dangote Refinery, Free Trade Zone, and the seaport. And those are part of the location I told you that we moved from just $200, some of them now $50,000, $100,000, the value of the property now, right? But after we did that, we asked ourselves, where is the next place there is land in Lagos? Once they announced airport in Ekpe, now we're launching our estate in Ekpe. Once they announce seaport in Badagry, we are launching our estate in Badagry as well, right? So we're targeting all that information as well as outskirts of the city. We know the development will have to move towards that west side because that's where there's land. Development has to move now to Badagry and Ikorodu because you have most of this Lekki already choked up already. I hope this answers your question. Yes, sir.
And I just sort of answering the question, what Dr. Kintai was also looking at is we're at different levels. So you have, and I think that's one of the points that you put in the book, that
yes.
Go into an established. So if you are a lone ranger,
yes,
you don't want to go to undeveloped land.
Exactly.
Because it's for the people that are able to commit the resources,
yeah.
They have the cash flow
yeah.
to buy totally undeveloped land, and they have the information.
Yes.
So I would say that for smaller individual people that are tipping their toes into real estate, you may buy an undeveloped land, and if it's not going to peak in 10 years,
yeah.
you get frustrated and
exactly.
you sell it in the year 9.
Yeah.
And then the person that buys in year 9 gets all the benefits. So
Very
it's better
true.
to go in with a bigger developer
yeah.
that has already taken that risk, fenced the land, fought off all the legal challenges, and then they may have been in it for 5 years.
Yeah.
Then you just come in and take your little bit
Exactly.
out of it because you don't have the manpower, you don't have the resources, you don't have the legal team, and the muscle.
Exactly.
There's another part of Nigeria.
I love that part.
The muscle part that you need. Yeah.
The muscle part is important if you're doing this in Africa. But even here in the US, there's the muscle part. Sometimes people hate Donald Trump, but New York made Donald Trump way worse. The real estate was vicious, and he had to become that kind of vicious guy, for him to thrive in the New York real estate world. And he's also part of the reasons why he's very confident. He understands the American system. There's so much he's been through, and people don't know. I mean, someone was asking him, does he have sleepless nights? He said, I don't even think about it. But I think what they don't know is that he's probably gone through tougher, worse part of this kind of issues when he was still just doing real estate here in New York. And so he understands how the system works. So muscle is important if you're going to do real estate anywhere in the world. Of course, the muscle is not necessarily you one-on-one muscle, but in terms of institutions that you have built that can fight off challenges and issues. And those institutions is not just physical, police, legal. Media now even plays a critical role. You must be way, way ahead of media, right? And for you to be ahead of media, you have to create your own media strategy, right? That you are the one telling the media firms, this is the angle I need us to go about what I'm trying to do, right? Because most people go into business or whatever trying to wait for media companies to say, okay, this is our rule, this is how we're going to go about it. Just like I think two people alluded to, was it you, about him creating a party inviting all these media guys. Now they're the ones having to go and report the whole thing. So you are that world where today the biggest battle is media. Not necessarily conventional media, sometimes social media is the perception of your brand, of what you're doing and things like that. Even for us as a company, it's part of why, I told her to come around, let's see what we can do. There's still lots that I'm looking at, I'm saying we haven't done in terms of what we do. So for example, we launched a $5 million grant and we've given over $5,000 to small businesses. We've given 40 already. And, somebody was telling me recently, I said, this is not properly reported. Yeah. You do so much, but because you are not intentional about putting the media hype, it's not going far. It's except people meet you, somewhere else, and then somebody is telling them who you are and what you've done. Say, oh, really? I didn't know you've done this much. So I said, we're going to work with people like this to see how we can turn that around as well. But definitely the muscle involves media muscle as well. It has to be properly done. Okay, the last book we're reviewing is called The Billionaire Habits for Pastors. And it was forwarded by a Nigerian pastor who is into business as well, Pastor Lumde Emmanuel. And I decided to do this book when I realized the noise about churches, religious institutions, particularly in Africa, and the abuse was getting too much, and it's quite one-sided. And a lot of us who are church boys and church girls have been bullied to either keep quiet and just watch, even when, you actually actively involved in the church institution and you understand the other side of the story that is not as rosy as people paint it. Not every pastor is out to extort and all of that. But I also realized that most pastors also created the problem we're facing, right? So I'll give you a practical example. He's a pastor here, and he has several real estate business, and most church members will never see him. I mean, he's had 20-something year law career here in U.S. real estate law, but went into ministry. So you don't see your pastor go to the courts, right? But you see that pastor drives good car. The day you go to pastor's house, big house, okay? Now in your mind you are saying, okay, maybe it's our tithe enough. Do you see the problem?
Yeah.
Now, most don't know that, pastor has big real estate company in Nigeria. He has so many developments even here in Atlanta. You don't know that. So the assumption. Now, not only is member thinking that way, younger people who have also gone into pastoring under maybe, who looked at his lifestyle and said, if he can be this good, God has called me to preach the gospel. And they never had a career in law when they retired after 20 years. They never had all this, behind them. They're just starting afresh, and then all is about ministry. So you have that old bag. So I said we needed to write a book on how do pastors become wealthy legitimately, right? So here I talked about 20 businesses pastors can do. For example, how they can monetize. I've written 40 books, and I make money from and I make money from Amazon every day, right? Every day. If I have one of our accounts, Amazon wired one of our money to one of these online cards that I had. They immediately blocked, the card, because they were just wondering how that kind of money could have come from Amazon. Maybe it was a fraud, maybe it was something, but people don't know that there's so many industry that as a pastor, book alone is monetization. YouTube alone is monetization. I know a pastor who makes almost $2 million from YouTube, from prayer. Right? Now all of us know. So today now he's not bothered about offering. A lot of people love him on social media because there's no burden around come and give, come and so. But what they don't even understand is that there's nothing you will sow that will hit the kind of money that's coming from YouTube monetization alone, right? So the reality remains that we could legitimate, and I hope maybe one day I will do one for politicians as well, because people wonder why American politicians are less corrupt. They are corrupt as well, but less corrupt. It's also because there are a lot of formalized model for you to make money as a politician, right? Hillary lost the election, wrote a book. Who knows whether the first check was $100 million? I'm very sure it couldn't have been less than $100 million. The first check for that book that she wrote after she lost the election. The publishing firm will have even given her at least almost that amount. We see Michelle Obama's book. We see, so there are structures for them. But in Africa, most politicians don't even know that. All you just know is that you went through an election, you lost money, and you are trying again, and when you finally hit it,
collect your money.
Collect your money. Wake up. So you just get into that mood of let me get my money back. And I think even what we're, my institution is doing about writing about the subject of wealth, a lot of people see it as, they're trying to brag or one thing. But I realize that it's the reason why Africa is poor. An average American makes $1 million. He writes how I made $1 million. Then maybe the book generated $10 million. Then you write how I made $10 million from writing a book. Right? So Bill Gates has a book. Warren Buffett has a book. Everybody has a book. Dangote doesn't have a book. Otedola has been trying to publish his own, we don't know how far up till now. Right? So you see that a lot of the wealthiest guys in Africa don't have a book. And this fits into the agitation young people are saying. Because we just see that the older set are just extremely wealthy. Right? We are not aware of the how. You don't come for seminars. When you come for seminars, you just motivate and go. You can't break down. This entire book tells you how I made money from land banking. And practically, like stories, everything detailed. So you can't read it now and you're wondering how come the guy has properties in Dubai, everything was stated here. Right? So we have to, and then the same older generation comes back and say young people they are not patient, they want to make money overnight. But the older ones are not teaching how they made it. Yeah? Some of them, not because they want to be wicked, they just feel it's not necessary. Some just feel, what's the big deal? I'm not sure. But it's important. Because a lot of this Western, I tell people, I say, for example, most people don't know Donald Trump is third generation wealthy guy. Third generation multi-millionaire. Third. His children are now starting the fourth. I think his grandfather came for gold. His father started real estate in Queens and all of that. He then moved it to Manhattan. Third generation. His children are probably fourth now. An average black person you see is still third generation poor. Right? Third generation poor. Not even the ones who have now tried, maybe now first generation upper middle class. First. Not necessarily even rich. First generation upper middle class. So we have and yet we are not even writing books. All these white guys, they will write how I made it, this is what I did, so the whole thing continues. The next generation can pick up. I say, Grandpa started gold business, he did this, he did that, he was looking at this strategy, but we are not doing that. So I hope that we will join me as we spread this message, because for me, I'm not doing, even the book review, the goal is not to make money, right? The book is $47 each. If you're buying the entire 5 is $150. But even if everybody bought, this venue alone is over $2,000 or so. So it's not about the money, but it's that the story has to get out there. We can't continue to complain that young people are getting into crime, and we're not providing an alternative, right? And we're not giving stories that can help. So I want to once again thank you all for coming, and I hope you will not just get the book for yourself, you will get for your loved ones. Those of you who are not pastors, please help me get these ones for pastors in your life. In fact, the ebook, I made sure it was free. In fact, the first week we had over 2,000 downloads by pastors, because it was for me a personal project that we need to work with. My father, was a clergyman, and he was part of the reason why we grew up poor, because he didn't do any work. And he was believing God that he would pray for people and they would remember him when God blessed them. And they didn't remember him. My mother was a civil servant, so she had to raise 5 children all by herself. So I've seen this firsthand, the impact. And even for me, I remained poor until I retired from pastoring. True story, I used to pastor in Winners Chapel. And I remained poor until I stopped pastoring. Okay, because in reality, the little money I make, I want to help this person, I want to help that person. Even decisions I need to make, I'm thinking religion, meetings I need to go for. I'm saying, they've said the guy is an atheist. If I take picture with him, maybe my members will start complaining. There's just so much around, So I really felt that there's a lot we needed to do to work with pastors as well around their finances, because it's hard to find a wealthy pastor that will be extorting members. Right? If your pastor is rich, you will love him, right? Because he's just all out to, he's all out to help, he's ready to give, he's ready. And we've seen that. We see Pastor Paul Adefarasin, who won, the Forbes award as well. And I'm so impressed. In fact, when people ask me your Forbes Best of Africa award, who else has won it? I said Pastor Paul won it. So, amazing. But again, it's because even though in his case as well, I'm not sure Pastor Paul does books on how he's doing business. You see, so that is a major angle that I think pastors. But I know he's a businessman. He has several businesses, but unlike him, his mentor, T.D. Jakes, will tell you I own 18 businesses. All the last 3 books by T.D. Jakes have been on business, right? Teaching business principles, strategies that he's used in business, and all of that. Okay? So I'll take your question, and for those of you buying, I'll be glad to sign it for you, and we'll take pictures, and we are done for the day. Thank you once again for coming.
Let me jump in since we came late.
Yes.
You may have touched on this, but I'll just like you to speak to the importance of going to seminars and having a desire to be wealthy, but also having the understanding that you have to spend
money,
yes. Time, effort to be able to get it. So when we have events like this, people will not throng in. But when we have events that deplete resources and make people feel good, they will, and then they expect to do the wrong thing and get the right results. So I just want you to speak to that, especially for those that are watching. Yeah,
they're watching online. By the way, we have a lot of people joining us online on Instagram. Well, for me is, I think that, funny enough, it's an African thing. Unfortunately, it's an African thing. Even here in the US, most of the seminars I've attended, because some of them are pricey, $5,000. And then you get there, you can count how many, maybe it's 200 people in the room, but you can count how many black people are there. You can practically count. Some of them, I'm the only Nigerian, that is in that room. And it's because the culture is that, first of all, teaching people how to be wealthy is supposed to be free. There's just that assumption. I've met people who tell me that, God gave you the wisdom. I said, I'm so sorry. I was born just like you. We all came, children, knowing nothing, dull. Okay, is what we then put in that ultimately determine what we get. So the concept about knowledge, and thank you for raising that question, we must be intentional about having mentors in our lives who can teach us how to be wealthy, and attending their seminars and having one-on-one with them. And I think I made this mistake as well, where many of us think spiritual mentors cover for business. That was one of my biggest mistakes, because I had Bishop Oyedepo, you know. So for me, because I had Bishop Oyedepo, and he was also technically a businessman if you really analyze it well. So I just felt, you know what, I don't need any other mentor. And I really didn't grow in my business until I started getting mentors specifically for my business world. And many of them were not Christians, many of them were. So I had to change my mindset that I wasn't going to meet them to learn how to go to heaven. So I don't need to add this criteria of, you know, there must be certain values, certain this. I know who I am, I know what I'm looking for. Go to them for what you're trying to get, and sit down and learn. We're going to be, you know, raising $200 million next year here in the US. And I learned everything from Grant Cardone. Right? And it cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars, not even hundreds of thousands. Each session, I paid $50,000. 1 hour. Right? So it's important that people understand that it's not going to be free. If people have made it, you know, we can all come here and, you know, we'll give you some basic, like Jesus said. And I've always said this, that if Jesus were to be on earth, this earth, he's going to be called, is it misogynist, you call it now? Yeah? It's going to be called sexist. It's going to be called, because how can a woman come to you and she was asking you for something and you say, well, the food that are meant for children, you don't give it to dog. Now let's CNN carry that news. Right? I mean, it's going to go viral. But that was Jesus telling a woman, say, look, I'm called to the lost sheep of children of Israel. You're a Gentile, I'm not here for you. Right? And the woman swallowed her pride and said, the food that, you know, even the dogs are entitled to crumbs that fall from the table. She left her ego out of it. And she was able to get what she wanted. So I see that a lot of us as Africans, we struggle with humbling ourselves and saying, yes, I may be big in this area, I may have success in this area, I still need to sit down under somebody in this other area that I'm trying to grow and learn and begin to build systems. And I think that's the problem that we face. And we get carried away. I remember when I met Foster of blessed memory, God bless his soul. And, you know, I was there with a friend of mine. We talked to him and said, look, even if it's about the money, you have so much voice that by now you should own a radio station. Do you know what Dan Foster said to us? He said, I just need to pay my house rent. Just, if you can just pay this house rent and this other bill, I will do anything you want. Literally, the priority was just, let me pay the bills. I'm not interested in all this owning radio station, running, you know, whoever just give me this money. And I think that's the mindset we carry. We're too much into, let me get this now, you know, short term. And the reason why we have that is also because we don't have business mentors, investment mentors who are way ahead, that we've gone to meet and say, I will do this for you. I learned this from Ayo Arolo. He's into media then. And, you know, many years ago, I read this book, Millionaire Capsule and Billionaire Capsule. And he said how he was able to attract a billionaire into his life was, he told the man, you're a billionaire, I'm not a billionaire, but I want to learn. But I'm a media guy. Anything you're doing media just is on me. Yeah. Right? You know, in exchange, I will be coming time to time, you know, to sit down and just ask you questions about how I need to structure my business. You know, and that was how he got access. So I tell people that there are two ways to get access to rich people. You either serve or you pay.
Yeah.
right? So either you are serving them by saying, hey, I'm going to provide this in exchange for this, or let me just pay. Why did I pay Grant Cardone? I was in the US. I run a lot of businesses. I don't have that time to come and say, okay, I want to come serve you, right? But I paid and I got the same attention to be able to learn what I needed to learn. And it was extremely helpful. So thank you for raising that question. I hope it helps those who are listening. Okay? Yeah, we're wrapping up. So we can take pictures. Yes. Okay. Thank you once again. Any more questions? If there's none, we're good to go. So, thank you. So if you're getting any of the books, by the way, the remaining books, if you know, I don't know whether you came to the castle. Yes, for tomorrow. Yeah, so I've made sure, though I'm not sure it will be enough, but at least those who first set of people to get it. Yes, eventually. No, that's all we have. We just go with all of it. Those who are first come, first serve. Yes.
Why do you want to take the photographs?
Why do you think? We should use this wall?
Because there's more distance to be able
to do that. Okay, beautiful. All of you watching, God bless you. Bye-bye.